months.
Yeah, I said it.
Next week.
Yeah. March is their slow day, so. See what everybody, walk where. We can do the like this time. Everybody have a day for it.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Or Thursday.
That's it.
Put them out, say, yes.
I plan on it, into the regular office, yes, sir. It's hard,
Will meet me here?
but,
8:45?
45.
Yeah.
That's something major.
That'll work. I think we might have a little play. Watch it.
Chair, did you get my message? Have you done anything? I've been talking to Tammy, trying to figure out. Okay. We ready?
I don't think we might have been late.
Call this meeting to order Monday, January 30th, 2023, Mason County Board of Education special meeting, agenda number 22-24, the Mason County Board of Education office at 10 a.m. All members are present. Please stand for the pledge led by Mr. Shode.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, 401, recommend the board approve a special meeting, agenda number 22-24, the Mason County Board of Education, January 30th, 2023. The Mason County Board of Education office, Point Pleasant, West Virginia, for the purpose of discussion, possible action on upgrades to school security systems. Motion, Mrs. Tennant. Second, Mr. Billings. Discussion, so we'll pull all of 5. And we're also going to pull 6. Anything else? All right, so we're voting on everything other than 5 and 6. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. So 501, recommend the board discuss and take possible action on upgrades to security systems in all schools. Motion, Mr. Shode. Second, Mr. Billings. Discussion.
We met before.
Yeah, we met,
Let's get some more information out of it today.
discussed last week, and we were waiting for maybe some more information.
Yeah, we discussed about upgrades at the last meeting about upgrades in the school security systems, and we were needing some additional information, and I think that Mr. Hendricks and Mr. Johnson have acquired some additional information for us to share at some point in time. To be disseminated to you.
Like he's got papers.
I just say a word.
Please.
Number one, thank you for holding this special meeting. I'm Gary Hendricks. Just have a few words about the process with Advantage Valley LLC and the Verkada cameras. There are other counties in this state which have already purchased and installed through Advantage. Same camera, same install process, I think. We may have a few extra install details, but my biggest worry a week, 2 weeks ago was what kind of pricing structure as a public entity can we say that we used? If We didn't do a formal bid and all that. Well, we are under the Omnia Cooperative Purchasing Contract. It covers the United States. This particular one began in Texas, but West Virginia is a member. And that is how, say, Wood County, Kanawha County, some others used that pricing structure to buy some of these probably exact cameras. So that's the hurdle for how can we purchase such a big thing. And so we're covered there. 5-year versus 10-year, just me personally, I feel like we've been rushed a bit into the 10-year, do it today or don't. Not that 5-year is the best idea. I just something I really shouldn't say. It's a personal thing. I feel pushed. The 5-year is not that 5 years always better than 10, but Wood County, and I have their purchase order, Wood County went with 5 years for some reason. I don't have their logic, or was it just simply cheaper to do it now and get them in? So I don't have a whole lot for you to hang my hat on as far as why should we go with 5. I think last week 5 was, well, if we go with 5, there's a few more dollars that could be distributed for other things. But either pricing structure that you would choose, 5-year, 10-year licensing, is covered. There are assurities. The contract addendum that the state of West Virginia has for counties to use on such a thing has already been signed by Advantage Valley, or Advantage Technology. So if there would be a contract dispute, it would be settled here in Mason County, which was another plus as far as the whole process goes. There's normally most of any of the bugs get worked out. But I didn't want us in California court or in Kanawha County. If it comes to court, it'll be here in Mason County. Basically 5-year, 10-year.
And then weren't there some questions as to whether maybe there was some other funding that might cover some of this, or did we salvage them?
The other possible funding. After what I learned last week at a training, an update on ARP and ESSER funding and going forward, I might want to caution us against that. Here's why. In April and May of 2020, nobody knew anything. Just buy safety equipment, keep your buildings clean. We're going to get back to regular instruction. So the U.S. Department of Ed and Office of Inspector General have done a few reviews around the country, and they've decided, well, that probably wasn't what we meant. So I'm probably going to ask that we remain somewhat conservative and not look at ARP ESSER funds. We can look at it, but we should not use ARP ESSER funds that are going to cover services or materials that don't really transpire until after the obligation date when these grants end. So obligation for the last of this so far, we don't know anything else. It's September of 24. And we know with just 5 years, we're going to be out past that. It will have the possibility of, in year 2027, the OIG selects some of the Mason County expenditures and decides that what we did in fiscal year 23 with some cameras wasn't proper. Now pay it back. That's long and short of what I got last week. Is not to purchase things intentionally that go beyond the scope of those grant awards. I didn't venture into looking at other grants. Possibly, I ran into one online, but it's going to be a 6 to 9 month process. Now, maybe they would look at, if they did choose us, what we have put in place, maybe is something, or if we need to buy additional, maybe that would help. Or the additional 5 years licensing, if we chose to only go 5 year, maybe we can get that covered with some kind of a grant award that we would write for. But I walked away from the conference last week with a little more caution.
If I could add an addendum to that, West Virginia Association of School Administrators had its conference Thursday, Friday, and it was preceded on Wednesday with some additional training, and they invited the school treasurers to be there along with superintendents. And we had a session from the State Department of Education, folks who handle those RFS funds, for 2 individuals there. So they had one presentation for the combined group, and then they had a separate meeting with treasurers to give them additional information. And I concur with everything that Mr. Hendricks said. It's though when the monies were first rolled out, it wasn't really clearly delineated always how you had to use money, other than it need to be used for student safety and welfare and that kind of stuff. And now it appears that, in fact, the feds have come back in and asked for additional support materials in some cases as to how did this, relate to this. And if it wasn't something that was more specifically related to COVID, then they have some concerns about it. And so I think that to exercise caution on anything that would be questioned about that is probably a wise move.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hendricks.
I have a question. I guess we're having a discussion here. I thought you was going to also find out what they was going to do this year from year 5 to year 10, the funding for the, I guess, warranty or whatever. You wasn't sure
All the license.
about the licensing, how they was going to.
Yeah, that's more about what some of the research you've done about to ensure that it was,
Yeah.
if something happened to the company after like 5 years, and he does that information.
I received what I wanted, and that's their plan, how to address things. Verkada's plan, if that would happen. It's a letter, and it's a publicly, well, I don't know if it's publicly traded, but it's incorporated in Delaware, and they have, it's a really big company.
It's big.
And so I got a document that satisfied me, and they sent it like Thursday, Friday last week.
So we're safe then if we go.
I feel confident if you went 10, they'll be there.
Does have any questions?
Say we would approve this, we had talked about how long it took to install them, if it would be, would we have them by the end of the year, or only take a month or 2, or?
That I'm not sure of at this moment. And that could be a part of the actual written purchase order that we explain to them. It shall be completed during this time. I think once the company, Advantage Valley, gets our purchase order, they will grab the 300 plus cameras and all the hardware.
I would think they'd act on it right away.
I really think they would get the equipment in and then scheduling their folks. I don't know if Mr. Johnson would have an idea.
Oh, I don't have time on right now.
Okay.
But that's something we need to look at also, when we do, because it's all payments up front, they got to guarantee us a finish date, not We put on back burner for 2 or 3 years if we wanted to. You gotta pay what that's, what they choose.
Yeah.
I'm sure there wouldn't, but
Yeah, you don't want
it's not my first.
obsolete equipment being put up.
Yeah, this is not my first time saying that.
I mean, do we have anything that gives us any idea as far as how quickly they work, or, I mean, we hear
We've
maybe from
used them
somebody.
a lot in that, and they've been really quick. Yeah. I mean, I have no complaints with them whatsoever. But they've done our E-rate projects, which included replacing all the switches at every school, all the wireless access points, and that was like a 3-month project maybe. I mean, I don't have the exact timeline, but it was very quick.
Okay, did you get any idea about, because we tossed around the idea of whether or not we should go with the 5-year license or the 10-year license? And we said, well, if we wait 5 years, then it's probably cost us a lot more to purchase the extra 5 years. Did you get any idea on, like, on something like that, did they give you an idea of how much it would go up? Or, that it definitely is going to go up, and usually it runs 20% more if you wait. I was just wondering if we had some idea.
No, we didn't get anything.
Ms. Tennant, we didn't get any idea, but from what I'm looking at, what Wood County Schools had for a 5-year license in October, that 5-year license is more today,
As in, significantly more?
$30.
How much?
$30 per license.
And I found out that the reason that was is because those cameras are special ed cameras. They're 365 day. So they took the cut on the licenses. Those are 365 day retention cameras. That's the difference.
Okay.
Yeah, my question, is for Deb, maybe for Mr. Johnson, maybe, since it seems like I think everyone feels good about the cameras, it's 5 or 10 years. Would you ask him, in his opinion, since he's over the IT, the pros and cons for 5 years and then 10 years, just so we hear
Mr. Johnson, might go on over to the podium if you would.
in his opinion?
Please give us your professional opinion on the 5-year versus 10-year.
Will do. Okay, so my opinion, and we'll go on record with this, is that they have all the cameras, all the hardware has 10-year warranty. And that's the thing that I keep standing behind, is that why not get a license that covers that camera for the life of the warranty? Now, I understand someone asked last week, in 5 years, there's new technology out there, and we want to switch it up. You're still going to have a huge cost then, and we're going to be right back to where we are right now. I feel with Verkada, the experience I've had with them is that in this 10 years, hopefully, but so far, they have been very good at rolling out new features. Seems like every month they have new features, and they are good at updating the firmware that controls the equipment we have now. And we are also buying the newest cameras they have now. So that's also going to help out in the long run.
So with the 5 years, do you see any, I mean, I know it's cheap, we know it's a little bit cheaper, but we lose the 5 years on the warranty. Do you see anything reason going with 5 year besides it's cheaper?
The only thing I see about the 5 year is if they would come out with a more advanced camera, say, that would be in a hallway where you just have one camera instead of 3. So maybe you can replace that camera, and then the 5-year license for that camera will be cheaper then. But beyond that, I mean, we have cameras right now that are 15 years old in some schools, maybe older, and they're still working, some of them. But yeah, I mean, these are so much more advanced than what we have now that I think will be good. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Sure, and I appreciate it.
Anybody else have questions for Mr. Johnson?
Well, maybe this would be for Gary. If we went with the 5-year, I think you may have told us this last time. If we went with the 5-year license, how much money would there be extra? I'm wondering if there's a significant amount when we have 12 schools, if we were talking about divvying it up. Because I know how expensive things are.
Kind of hoping
The
Dr.
difference-
Burdette brought some next.
Yeah, the difference between the two quotes that we have, a 5-year license versus a 10-year license, the difference in that is 236,000. Let me get this right. 236. Let me back up. What I'm telling you is how much was left out of $1 million. Sorry about that. Yeah, if you're thinking about the Newport money, the $1 million, the 5-year license is 763, 566, 75. So the difference left over will be $236,433.25 on the 5-year license. And the 10-year license, if you invested the Newport money in that, you'd have $52,763.61 left. So your difference there is about $180,000, roughly.
Which, like you said, is a good chunk of change, but
Correct.
you have money, and we're doing it, like you said, why have, I'm about like Mr. Johnson on it, why have a 10-year camera that we can only use for 5 years?
Because you can pretty much guarantee it's going to cost us more in 5 years.
Even though we have the money right now, you use the same price, are you gonna have that in 5 years? Like you said, you're not gonna get a grant, you're not gonna get anything you can to pay for it.
I mean, is that just the standard what they offer? Do they offer a cheaper 5-year warranty camera?
No,
No, so it's.
they're
just
all their equipment's 10-year.
So I have a question that may be ignorant. We're buying if we buy these, we're buying 10-year cameras. If we get a 5-year license, does that mean that warranty's only good for the first 5 years, or in 5 years, we get another license, those cameras are still covered for 10 years?
That warranty is still,
Good for 10.
still good for 10 years.
You know, one is one, this license.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, the warranty would still, the cameras would still work, but they would just shut us down.
Right, but I mean, if we re-up, but if in 5 years, we get another 5-year license, those are still under warranty.
Correct.
Through those next 5 years.
Correct.
And I'm not saying that, I'm like you, I think if they upgrade everything on to them, I'll put that way, electronic, whatever, that we would be up like automatically, the license, that would be the same thing. Should cost us no more for upgrades for.
Yeah, I mean, the price of technology is falling too. I mean, we advance so quick.
Well, I appreciate you both getting the information that we asked for or questionable on this past week, or in just a few days, really, I guess. Does anybody have any questions for either Mr. Hendricks or Mr. Johnson?
I'm excited about getting this.
So I guess we just need to discuss license. We're all on board for the idea of the cameras.
Oh, agreement with the cameras. Talk about that. The argument gets to power the can, is that being right?
Well, no, not arguing that we just have to decide.
Yeah.
So is everybody thinking? Can everybody jump at once?
Well, I'm, with what Mr. Hendricks said, like, kind of push to make a decision fast with just the deadline that the company's given us. So good with that. So I'm still, because I've been number crunching, like, if we would only do the 5-year, what schools would get, and, I mean, if that's something we would,
What we would do if the leftover.
right. If it was to give the schools whatever. And I like that idea that each school they get a piece of it, they can get what they feel is necessary, but again, that would give a 5-year one.
even if we went with a 10-year, each school would get about 4,500, which I don't know what they might want to purchase with that, you know, or divvy it out for supplies with teachers, however they want it.
Well, and that would depend too on whether or not it was just split evenly amongst the schools, or we did a per child.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, just for per student, depending on how we wanted that to be spread too.
Like you said, that'd be a tough call too. We got, if we got in how we was do that. I just like the thought that the 10 years back, we don't have to worry about
I do
10 years, whoever the next board is, or whoever would have to work for 10 years, you know.
Because 5 years goes like that.
And it's just like right now, if you had to come up with $300,000 for a license today, call up our campus, we'll put where we got to come up with, who will where? You know. or we
Same
get-
place we'll get it in 10 years.
You don't say. Good, bank. In 10 years, at what, plant should be running good, everything ought to be running good, could be a 5, and don't mind. Yeah, they won't be running at 2. Don't look at business and everything we do around here, you know what I'm saying? Just an opinion, I go either way. Just.
If you want to make a motion and then we'll vote however we want.
Whatever everybody feels.
And if it fails, then we'll vote on the side or whatever.
I do have something to add real quick. So the sales rep from Vantage got back to me and I said, is it reasonable to say that these will be installed before the 2023-2024 school year? And he said, absolutely.
Did you just text him during this meeting?
Yeah. Well, that's why I have a very good relationship with him. Yeah.
Tough, it's
It is tough because like, I mean,
ways.
you can't put a price tag on safety. That's why like, I have no issue getting the cameras, but in the same sense, it's like, I would like to give the schools something as well that they can, a good piece of, I was doing price per head, just because I
It was
felt
like,
like,
what, 62-ish?
that's what I thought was fair. That's just, I mean, that's for discussion any other time. I mean, the least amount somebody would get, if we did the 5 year, the least amount that a school would get would be $8,500. And that's, for a small school, that's a lot of money. And then the bigger schools obviously get a decent, and they can figure out what their needs. I like giving them a say, because this is everyone's.
Yeah.
But I get it with,
I kind of agree with that.
what do you mean?
It's everyone's money.
It's
They
basically.
give it to us, but we're gonna get down to it. I'm pretty cheap out of it, what they give. I mean, what they're getting, what.
I'd be thrilled with $1,000.
I agree, I know you take a minute out of it. I just like the 10-year deal, but I don't know if somebody makes a motion, we'll go with it either way.
I do like the
And I
idea
agree.
of the schools getting a little chunk that they get to decide, you know. It's kind of spread throughout the county, but I see the pros of the going with the 10 years.
Right, I mean, I think we all get hit up from different people about, oh, we need this, and we don't have the money, and like we kind of could.
Yeah.
But you can't put a price on safety too, which this is kind of like, if you do the 5 year, you have a happy medium a little bit, but I get it, in 5 years, now we're in.
So I guess this is another Mr. Hendricks question. Say we go with the 5 years, can we start then looking at, is there anywhere to like set aside? I mean, start, you know, just to know, to where we would know that that's gonna, you know, we're building a fund to use in 5 years?
You can do that with each budget year, or the Advantage folks will get back to us. I just asked a question. If we went with a 5 year, could we grab years 6 through 10 out of next school year's budget? I added 10% to this figure, and if that would work, it's a lot of money, but 203,000 if they only added 10%. And with one more year of ARP ESSER helping to pay positions. We might be able to stuff it into the budget for next year. A couple of things need to happen for that is a very healthy proposed tax rates or tax assessed values coming from the assessor March 3rd. And if we can't do 203,000 out of next year, then maybe we have to wait, and then there'll be another 10% on top of that for the year after. But maybe we could take a couple years.
I think that's my question. Is it safe to say if we did 5 years, that in 5 years, whoever's sitting on this board would not need to worry about coming up with the money to purchase the next license?
The only unknown would be how much.
Right.
And
Well, I'm thinking too, and this just like popped in my head, in 5 years, what are schools gonna look like? Like,
We have no
what are we gonna have
Well, we have the same
standing, are we gonna have the same buildings? Is this even, because obviously a lot is probably gonna change in 5 years, so.
But the cameras, even if they move, school would have to move the cameras, has nothing to do with the 5 or 10 years. One thing we would do is we would have the software to keep running.
I mean, what if we have
That's something different.
more, less?
If we have more, we have to add on the price of them anyway. I'm just saying, in 10 years. No matter what school we did, I'm sure we're not gonna throw the cameras away. There'll be one somewhere.
Or if on the flip side, I guess, in God forbid, say year 6, we've got half the school buildings operational that we do now. There's a lot of money kind of wasted on a lot of cameras. The license for what, for 10 years?
They'll move them back into the other school.
The cameras.
Well, I mean, look at the cameras. I mean, I don't know, it's just,
But like you said, some of our cameras are 15 years old. That's make most of them. If all can do is vote and then
Right, absolutely. They make the most, I don't care.
and even though I've had time to sleep on it, like I still am very unsure. I mean, I don't think we can make a bad decision.
I mean, obviously, we're looking at safety of kids, so there's no wrong way to go here.
I do like the idea of being able to give schools money to get some things.
Well, I will say, if we decided, if you all decide to go with the 5-year, you guys are talking about divvying up the money for the schools. That would be great, but what the schools really need, if you go 5 years, is to look at access control for the doors.
But I think I'd like to invest it on security. I think that's the best way to spend money. I think it's a look at that penalty tax, which costs stuff like that.
Because I know when I sent out the survey, every school wanted to add at least one door, one key card reader for their school.
But like you said, if we go to 5-year or 10-year, we're not making a decision right now what to do with the rest of the money. I mean, that's a good off, you know what I'm saying, as far
But
as.
basically, just say, so how would you like the larger sum left over or the smaller sum?
Right, and like you said, if you went with something like that, one door for each school, I just said one reader for each school, then that is splitting it up evenly.
What's the cost per reader?
With the electronic technologies that we have right now, I'm not sure of the exact cost, but the estimate that they gave Mohama for 2 doors was $11,000. So, you're talking $5,500 a piece. But I don't know how much it is for Percata, because, I would like, if we go with this system, I would like to have everything changed to that system. So, yeah, I'm gonna guess around 5,000 a door. And that's just hardware, that doesn't include installation.
Gary, those costs.
I've got the folks at Advantage Valley answered back. Of course, they can't tell me, yes, you can purchase the 5-year licenses right away, and you can purchase years 6 through 10 next year. He doesn't know how much yet,
But you think it would cost?
but he's gonna check
But
it.
those can be purchased before year 5 is up,
Yes.
is what you're saying. All right.
You think it purchased anytime?
Dr. Burdett, what do you?
You know, that's, I think you're making a wise consideration on these cameras. I'll say that. You know, then I think it comes down to, you know, what are your preferences? I mean, you brought up a good point that has gone through my mind. I'm not sure what our buildings will look like in 5 years. We may be building on, we may be having to consider building new schools. And, you know, the cameras will all be included when you're doing bids for something like that. On the other hand, like Mr. Show was pointing out, you still have those cameras, even if you did something like that, you could repurpose those someplace else along the way. And Mr. Johnson brought out some good points about the door needs. You know, if you go with the 5-year, you've got about just shy of $250,000 left over. Am I right? You go with like 230, I believe, 236,000 left over. So you could address some of those door needs if you wanted to go that way, or you wanted to follow down on the schools. I guess I'm just kind of presenting it out there as is. If you go to the 10-year license, you got about $52,000 left over. So if that was going to go to security, that does a few doors, or if you want to divide them in the schools, of course, that's less per store.
$5,000, you can go to about 10 doors.
There you go.
You know, almost cover every school.
Minus installation.
Yeah.
Right.
But with,
I think the 5,000 is everything.
if we had the 52, if we did the 10-year and had the 52,000, you were saying that some schools are wanting more cameras. They feel like they need more cameras. Of course, not how many cameras you're talking, but.
Correct.
Ooh, now let me ask this. If we purchase those cameras, those additional cameras that are felt we need in the bigger schools, are they covered under the same license, or do we have to buy a new license?
You have to buy a license per device.
Per camera.
Yes.
Okay, so then we would, if we purchase more cameras, then we'd have to realize that there's going to be the additional cost.
After that 5 years is up, yes, then you'll have additional costs on top of what you have now.
It's a tough choice. I mean, that's, I know that what you're all wrestling with, because there's no real wrong answer on this thing. You know, there's not a wrong answer. It's just what do you think is the best investment at this point in time, and what would best meet the needs of our students and our schools.
And you said that some of the administrators have already expressed that they want doors for doors.
It was almost every school wanted at least one more door.
I'll go back to that question. What did you say the cost of that was?
Well, the estimate that Wahama got was about $5,500 per door.
Is that installed, is that everything?
That was installation,
That's
hardware,
what I said.
license,
So the
everything.
52,000 we had, about 8,000 with, we cover all anyway.
But that also wasn't Mercata. That was. the-
Right, I understand. You said you estimated at 5. I mean, I know that ain't so or not, but I'm just saying, with the 10-year, we can almost still purchase stuff.
Right.
But how many are they wanting?
They wanted to.
Right.
You just said that every school wanted at least one.
Yeah.
And we got more precise quotes for Beagle and Mohammed than we did the others, because those were the first couple schools we looked at, just kind of as give us a glimpse, just to give us a ballpark figure on what that would cost. So, and so then these quotes that you've had, that you've looked at per school, are based on replacing existing cameras as they are.
Correct.
And I think that the quote for Beagle and Mohammed included a few extra, right?
A lot
The
extra.
original,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we hit every blind spot we could.
You know what? Chris, I know that it was said, I won't say by whom, that we should be getting, it looks as though we're going to get a lump sum of money. If that should come to pass, then maybe we could use all of that lump sum to disperse among the schools, if we used all of this on security.
I know that the legislature put in, I think they had like $4.5 million for school safety or whatever, but that's pretty much typical of what they do every year. So I don't know that there'll be any kind of lump sum associated with that. We can certainly hope so, that there's something out there, but, there's no guarantee or anything like that. You know, I always hope.
That's excluded out.
Yeah, and I think that the money that they are, of course, the legislature, the budget development process right now, so nothing is sure yet, but, yeah, they always do set aside some money for school safety, and there is an emphasis coming from Homeland Security on that type of venture, but I'm not sure that they are parceling out any kind of lump sums of monies to help out school systems for that. Now, another option could be, we might be able to chase some money with the school building authority, tied in, if you do choose to go with the cameras, you might be able to do some sort of a proposal with the school building authority and say, here's some things we'd like to do to complement what we've done with our cameras to improve our facilities. So I think, there's some options, and one could be a trigger for another to help leverage some additional monies.
We know if we're gonna get new cameras, we're gonna get new licenses. No matter if we buy one camera or 100 cameras, whichever one we buy, we're gonna still have to buy the license. We're right now on cameras we're gonna purchase today. If we decide today we're purchasing, apparently we're purchasing today, so we gotta work on a license for them. So that's really the question, not future cameras, really. I mean, future cameras have to come with some other money.
Right.
That's how we are. You got the money right now, you get it, if we use somewhere else. Yeah, somewhere else, we use somewhere else, we get it school, or whatever, it may be, or what do they do with it? I mean, this year we never use it, like, nobody,
I'm
nobody,
very happy that we're even having this conversation. There was an agreement that safety was top priority.
nobody can fault us for doing, probably either one, because it is, in my opinion, it is for safety. I think we need to go further with safety.
We can never be too careful.
Right,
Never be
so
too
it's-
safe, yeah.
I mean,
But if we have the month, like extra money left over, that can go towards even more,
Yeah,
even more precautions
I
now.
agree.
I didn't even get the doors.
I think that's already, it's a part of.
Well, I think what you'll wind up with is whatever choice you go with, then you know you're gonna have some leftover to deal with. So at some point in time, we have to make a decision about that is, do you want that to go to safety? Do you want to divvy it up among the schools? If you divvy it up among the schools and let them choose, then they're gonna have these same kinds of conversations, like what we do with our little pot of money that we just got. So, and either way you go, whether you go the 5-year or the 10-year, at some point in time, we have to make a decision, what do we do with the rest of it? So,
I think for me, being here the last 10 years, we've always had issues with cameras. So for me, I think, the 10-year for me, I think I'm leaning more towards that now. Just so it's over with. We got 10 years worth of cameras, whether who's sitting here, they don't have to worry about it. I hope in the future that this county blows up, but until you actually see it, it's hard for me to believe it. I drive by that Newport every day and they're moving.
They got a sign.
Like I said, I've been here all my life, and that's all I've heard is we've got the rivers around this and that. And I'm 37 now, and I've heard it all my life. But there is movement, so it feels positive that we could see something here. But for the time right now, the money is here. I'd rather get the 10 years than if something happens, awesome. If not,
Do you want to make the motion and we'll take a vote as it goes
if
down?
we need to do it, let's get it. If everyone's ready for a motion, I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All right, I'll make a motion to the 10 years on the warranty or the license.
Mr. Billings makes a motion to purchase the cameras and security system from Verkada with 10-year license.
And I'll
Advantage, Advantage technology. And the quote is, I'm gonna give the amount and all that.
I still like to have some discussion.
Oh, come on, Dale.
Just make sure
We
we're getting
got
the right
to get the
quote.
license, I want to have some discussion.
Mr. Hendricks, is the right quote that we're looking at 650,000?
71029. Yes.
Yeah. With an installation is $296,526.10. I think it was on a separate document. we're checking our emails just to make sure. I believe that came through in an email.
It did, yeah, I'm trying to find this.
So again, the numbers that you're looking at, so if you want to, when it comes to point in time, if you want to clarify the motion, it would be $650,000, $650,710.29 for, yeah,
Okay, so the installation is the two
hardware.
Two ninety-six was, that's the correct.
$296, $526.10 for installation, for a total of $947,236.39.
Okay, so Mr. Billings has made a motion to purchase Cameron Security System through Advantage Technology at the price of $650,710.29 with a 10-year license at $296,526.10 for a grand total of $947,236.39.
And I'll say.
Second, Mrs. Tennant, all in favor, say aye.
Discussion? Yeah, I got it. Further on, I know this motion and I'm okay with it. I was going to just ask before we vote, you was talking about the key card, the doors. Is that a safety convenience thing?
That is both. Because
That's what I'm asking, is that,
That is both.
convenience we're getting,
that is both.
because it is, I don't know if it go in a motion or members, I would like to see us remaining money pursue that door, that one door for each school and see what kind of cost we can get that before we. That puts it all the same. I think you go by,
I'll just see if we can get a better deal through them since it's all
do it
together.
again, you know what I'm saying, some kind of discussion like that, he's gotta lock this down, but then, this is fine, if we don't get it, even, see what it would cost us before we spend the extra $15,000, we could possibly go for every school got a one of the.
I can tell you with that, with the door system, the door access, if we go with Verkada, the license for each door is about $1,200.
Right.
I'm not sure how much the hardware is for installation or who we would find to get it yet. Because I've spoke with Advantage about it, they're just now tipping their toes in the waters of going.
I didn't say
access
that
control.
you had to get, I'd like to see the
And
question.
that may just be a discussion for once this vote goes through
Right.
and we know what's left over, then we look at what to do with the remaining balance.
That's why I said we give it on this visit, but
Separate
I'll just keep it all.
if it was on the visit, we know what we was doing, at least percentage, at least try. That's right, okay. That's just a discussion.
Is everybody ready to vote then? You're gonna make me say all the numbers again. So,
I wasn't thinking.
what?
Said all in favor of it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. So. Back to the main motion. Recommend the board discuss and take possible action on upgrades to security systems in all schools. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 5-0. 6:01, regular business meeting, February 14th, 2023, Mason County Board of Education Office, 6 PM, regular business meeting, February 28th, 2023, Mason County Board of Education Office. Motion, Mr. Schmidt.
Second.
Second, Mrs. Stinnett, discussion.
Yeah, we need to look at a couple meetings. I think, or at least one, I think, and he said we had to do something about his contract. I'd like to see him make a special meeting next week or something.
A special meeting before, since our next meeting is until the 14th.
Yeah.
So are you guys thinking next week? It'd have to be.
Yeah, that's why I said, everybody look at your calendars. I don't care if you say this time. That's a good meeting or something. Yeah, meeting.
All right, so any suggestions? Are we looking at?
Y'all got any suggestions? Cause I'm good at that.
During the day, I'm good anytime. I just
Yeah,
can't
I
do
like-
Thursday evening.
During the day.
I can do it.
On which day?
What about Monday the 6th?
Monday the sixth?
That's not good for me.
Is there a day that is good for you next week, or just that one's?
That Monday the sixth is booked.
What else starts?
Tuesday.
What'd you say? I expect birthday cake, just throwing that out there.
Birthday?
It's fine, I'm working anyway.
Oh. We can do this.
Just kidding. What time works? What time? I mean, I think earlier.
Like 10, like this, or
10 is good for me.
So at a meeting February 7th at 10 a.m. Discuss superintendent's contract.
Mrs. Carson.
We have an administrative meeting scheduled
Okay.
on February 7th at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's all right, Dr. Burdette, we can just move that meeting to a later date.
we really don't need any, I mean, because it'll be an executive session meeting, really, I mean, we'll just call it order.
Okay.
Something, that takes something different.
That's fine. I think we can go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
We'll just have, you just want to call the meeting to happen.
Yeah,
In
like,
the conference room.
you know, we'll discuss it.
So everybody's good for the 7th?
And
And if they didn't need me, I mean, for any questions or anything like that, I'd probably could bounce out and back in. Because our meeting starts at 8:30,
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, principal's meeting.
what about the 16th? What, is that the day we're supposed to go to Charleston? February 16th.
That is correct.
February.
Yeah, we've been invited to have a meeting in Charleston.
I think we need to make a somehow official meeting.
I do too.
I'd like to see you check and sit before our next meeting, maybe to see if we can have the meeting there, or if we need to come here and call it, go executive session with them, because it's going to be an executive session meeting that we're going to be.
Right.
You know, the meeting's not open to the public either way down there. And that's what I said, but if we could, then we got to come back here and adjourn. You know, the way we did it in the past. But we've also had it down in the second, down there, wherever it was, we were there and started the meeting, and, you know.
So legally, that was work.
Apparently, let me check on that.
Check on that, yeah, because we could do it the next meeting, we could do it.
Well,
Two good.
Well, we did on the 7th.
Seth, I mean,
but when you have a special meeting, I think you have to distinguish what your special meeting is for. And if it's for the superintendent's contract, unless you want to distinguish it for superintendent's contract and,
the next meeting day,
Maybe we could just.
I guess we could, okay.
right, the next
Just
meeting.
hold that next meeting,
We
we
can
don't
do
the
that.
agenda.
We can do that.
On the 7th, meeting is on the 7th.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
So you have a motion right now.
So we have a motion to add a special meeting to discuss superintendent's contract on February 7th at 10 a.m. here at the board office. You have a second? Oh, yes.
I'm too confused.
I think Dale made a motion, or maybe that was to consider, or to pull this item.
Yeah, then.
And then, yeah.
Something made.
So they, well, what I had is that someone made the motion to, it was Dale, pulled the motion to consider. Was your motion to just pull this off for consideration?
We got voted on, then we have to have a
So
motion.
we need to, because I need amendment, so you do need a motion.
Mr. Motion to amend is Mr. Billings. Second, me. Mrs. Cutter. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. So I need to read that with you. 601 will now read. Special meeting, February 7th at 10 a.m. to discuss superintendent's contract. Regular business meeting, February 14th, 2023, at the Mason County Board of Education office, 6 p.m. Regular business meeting, February 28th, 2023. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. 71, recommend the board adjourn special meeting agenda number 22-24, January 30th, 2023, for Mason County Board of Education, held at Mason County Board of Education office in Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Motion, Ms. Billings, second, Ms. Beckler. All in favor, say aye.
Motion passes 5-0. We're out at 10:56.